Welcome to Yorkshire. Welcome to Bradford.
Thank you very much.
So lovely to see you. Without the hoodie.
Yeah, I know. It's warmer in here.
It's not quite the temperature that you've been used to lately on your travels, has it?
Yeah, it's just a little bit warmer in here.
What would you say the temperature was in the South
I think it got down to, as an estimate, around -50. So pretty cold. And that the wind chill makes it feel like so much colder.
Did you just say -50?
Yeah.
Not 15, 50.
Yes, yeah.
My goodness, it gets here -5 and I'm like, oh my God, -50.
Yeah, it got pretty cold. You'd be amazed what you get used to. I don't know if, but it got past a certain point where it was, I could feel, and I was losing weight as well as I was going, and you could really feel the bit of cold.
Gosh, oh my God, I just can't get over that. -50, it's sending a shiver. Even though it's warm, it's 20 degrees out there today, and I'm getting a shiver just hearing that. Oh my God, what an incredible journey you've had though, and what a record. And such an amazing achievement for women of colour, for South Asian women. But I think the South Asian community in general, I don't think it's just for women, but I think, South Asian community in general. Before we talk about your journey, I want to talk about your earlier life and why you chose to join the army. and because you've been in part of the army now for a number of years.
Over 10 years now. Yes, yeah.
10 years, a decade.
Yeah, I know. I don't look that old, but yeah.
Definitely not. No way. So what made you want to join the army, and what was it like telling your parents that that's the career you've chosen for yourself?
So I saw an advert in Derby City Centre, and people were smiling on the posters, and it looked interesting. I didn't really know much about it, so I joined up pretty quickly. So the reserves at the time, so part-time army, and I went and told family about a week later, and certain members of the family weren't very happy with what I'd done because I was doing something very different to what was expected of me. People wanted me to leave. I didn't want to leave, so I decided to stay in, and I'm really glad I did, because it opened up so many different doors to me, things I didn't know about, and you don't know what you don't know. And I started to push my boundaries and learn a little bit more. And I think the more we do, the more we realise we're capable of. And that's pretty much how it went for me. I started doing a little bit more and a bit more. And I found personally, the more I was doing in the army, the more I started doing out of the army as well, whether that was long distance running, doing different events. So for me, it felt like they kind of went hand in hand.
Oh, brilliant. So you didn't want to be a lawyer or a doctor or
I know.
a solicitor or an accountant?
I didn't tick those boxes. I know, that's probably why they were disappointed.
So what was that conversation like then when you told your parents that you wanted to join the army?
Oh, I didn't tell them I wanted to. I joined.
You didn't tell them?
No, I joined and told them afterwards.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I told them a week afterwards. So certain members weren't happy when I told them the week after, but I'd already joined. I signed up. And then when I joined the full-time army, again, I don't think I really said much to them. I was kind of labelled there, within the family or community, like the rebellious one, just Preet doing what she wants, because I was doing things that were different. Again, not what was expected of me. But I kind of want to change that around and actually show pushing those boundaries is a good thing. And it shouldn't be, oh, she's the rebellious one. That's not rebellious. It's actually wanting to encourage people to push those boundaries and see actually the world is so big, and you can do anything. And it's great now to see how many people are proud, but it wasn't that long ago that people weren't really that interested in it. And I think a lot of this is people didn't really understand what I was doing, because it was just quite different from what they knew. And even when they did, it's not one of the popular things, Is it, are you doing well in education? No. Is it something to do with Bollywood? No. So, it's almost like I didn't tick the boxes. So,
yeah. So is that why you didn't tell your family? Because you already feared that there would be backlash, or there would be...
For the army?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I knew that, people wouldn't be happy. So, which is why I didn't tell them. And then telling them a week later, I was probably a bit nervous at the time. But I think in my head, I'd got to a point, I was 19, and I was like, no, I still, as other people named it, stubborn, but I would say determined. And, I wanted to do things and, get involved in things and try different things. And I look back now and I'm like, God, I'm so glad I didn't listen to people that told me no. And this isn't just
Good
them,
on you, absolutely.
Over time, or why are you doing that? Well, like so many times, and I'm just, and it's, I don't want to say it in a bad way, but at the same time, when people are telling you can't do things, well, actually, why can't you do them?
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, you're the trailblazer, you know, for doing what you do. It's like, you know, going back a few years, it wasn't common for South Asian women to go to university, but it took for one person, one woman to, you know, be that rebel or that black sheep, whatever you want to refer to them, and say, no, I'm going to go do it. And today now, you know, thank goodness that one person did open the doorway for so many other South Asian women to now be allowed to go study, get an education. And I think that's exactly what you're doing on this pathway, to be able to go to the army, join, be there for a decade, which is a very long time, but also to do other amazing things, like go as far as the South Pole and make history, which is absolutely fantastic. So tell us about that journey. What made you want to do that? Because obviously you've already, you know, gone through the process of going to a career that's not seen as a normal choice within our communities, and go through all the challenges of getting that acceptance from family, from society, to do the career that you want, but then take it to another level and do this solo journey.
It's so for a while I knew I wanted to do something big, something that would push me out of my comfort zone and push my boundaries, but hopefully inspire other people to do the same. And I think for a while I just wanted to inspire my niece. You know, you look at a young girl, and I'm really close to my brothers, and I think, and you know, I'm sure as my mum did with me, and think, you know, God, I want this little girl to be able to do whatever she wants to do. And me and her, we do a lot of different things together, but I won't go into that in a moment. But I just the reason Antarctica is because I didn't know anything about it. And I thought, how amazing would it be to go and do something you don't know anything about, to show you don't have to come from a certain community or background or go the same path that other people have gone. You can come from anywhere and start at any age. And that's exactly what I did. I started online, you know, what do I do? Do I run? Do I ski? Like, I had no idea, like, where I even start. And I remember being so excited about this idea. And I told my friends were excited with me. They know me really well. But telling a lot of people weren't that interested. And I'm not sure if that's because they looked at me and didn't take me seriously, or, you know, other reasons. And then it was COVID. So, you know, obviously there was a lot of other things going on there. I also became a vaccinator for COVID. So, and then I was just training in my spare time whenever I could. And to be honest with you, it was really hard. I used my life savings to do training trips. Like, I'm still paying the trip off now. Like, it was expensive. It was hard to get to that start line. But in my mind, I just thought, no, Preet, if you, a Punjabi girl from Derby, can go and do this, I want to show people they can do anything. You know, they don't have to stay in any kind of box or lane that's been created for them. And they don't have to know or be interested in Antarctica, whatever it is for them, whether it's choosing a different subject at school, getting involved in sport, arts, whatever that boundary is, they can step over it. They can push that boundary. And I want to encourage them to do so. And you know, I want to be honest about my experiences. So it wasn't easy for me to get there. Honestly, wasn't. Like, I
can imagine.
You know, some of the
just
training.
Hearing minus 50 just sent shockwaves down my body. So, like, how many days did that trek take for you? I mean, you
40.
skied all the way, didn't you?
Yeah, so 40 days. So skiing and then pulling my sled with me.
On your own.
On my own.
Completely on your own. Were there ever days where you thought, why am I doing this?
There were, but then I'd remind myself that it was more important than me, you know, like, yes, I'm one person doing this, great, but it's the so what, like, why am I doing it? You know, who did I want to bring with me on this journey? I had, you know, my sled was named after my niece Simran, my skis after my nephew Karanveer. Even that was powerful. Has anyone brought sled or skis with that kind of name there?
No way.
The audiobooks I was listening to, you know, I had The Good Immigrant, the UK, the US version. I had different South Asian authors with me. I wondered if anybody ever brought their voices to Antarctica with them. Everything about it was powerful, and you know, that helped me along the way. And when I was finding it difficult, I had voice notes downloaded from those closest to me, and I'd listen to them, and they were so special, honestly. My brother's one was great. He was like, you know, when you were younger, you wouldn't even like look left and right when you were crossing the road, because apparently I was like, well, if he's doing it, why do I need to do it as well? And he was like, now you're in Antarctica on your own. Yeah, on your own. And it just made me laugh. So they were great, listening to their voices. And so, yeah, it was tough. But, you know, it was the final leg of the journey. I trained for 2.5 years to get there. Like, nothing was going to, nothing was going to stop me when I was there.
That's some motivation, though. That's some power. Did you, like, what about the food? Did you take like a tiffin of dal or something with you?
Oh, I wish. I was missing my grandma's parati, actually, I was. But yeah, so I have freeze-dried food. So, it's been cooked and then frozen, so it's quite light. So that's what I'd eat in the evenings. And I'd melt some snow and get that to water. So put it into like my little mug for food. And then in the day, I would have like a mixture of things like broken up nuts and chocolate, cheese, salami, flapjack, things like that, and kind of snack on those in the day. In the morning, I'd have granola. So yeah, just a mixture of food, but I tried everything before I left because there's nothing worse than not liking your food. But it was 5,000 calories a day, so it's a lot.
Wow. That is incredible. That is definitely a lot. So what would you say was your most challenging part of the journey?
There were some sections after the halfway point that got really difficult. So it was just really, really windy. The weather was kind of a little bit worse. I think I was getting tired as well. And it was just a struggle, to be honest with you. And you can't, when you're out there, you can't really see anything on the horizon. It all looks the same. So I think mentally that's difficult. And, when you're finding things difficult, I find, as an overthinker as I am, everything comes to you at that point. And I think I still hold a fair amount of frustration towards people that I felt almost went out of their way to put barriers in my place or in my way. And I think that was hard for me because when I'm at home or, doing day-to-day things, I realise how easy it is to distract myself. And I found there was no mental escape there. And that was hard. And I'd have to work really hard to remind myself why I was there in the first place and that this wasn't about those people, and that was difficult. But in those times as well, I just had to take it a step at a time. Everyone's had some pretty tough times, especially with COVID as well. And I just broke it down. And at some points I would literally concentrate on putting my left foot in front of me and then my right foot in front of me. And I didn't think further than that.
How powerful. You sound absolutely amazing. I mean, it's really tough because sometimes when you get into a dark space.
Yeah, it's hard to come out.
And it's a dark space that we are in at home or in an environment that we're used to. Yeah. You're in a dark space that you're in an environment that you don't know, that it's brand new.
Yeah.
To be able to, stay focused and stay positive on your mission and keep going forward, that must take some doing.
It does, but the thing is, I think we're all capable of it. And, you speak to people and say, have you ever had tough days? And they're like, some really tough times. And I think we're our own worst critics, right? So to remind those people that you got through that day, though.
Yeah.
So you got to the end of it and you did it. So if you can do that, what else can you do? And give yourself credit for that. And it's great for me to give the advice out, but at the end of those days, I'd be swearing at myself, so it's hard to do and it takes practice. But I read something somewhere and it was I would never talk to my friends that way.
Yeah. Really?
No, I'd never be rude, the way that you are to yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why do I treat myself that way then? Why am I so harsh on myself if,
True.
I wouldn't treat my friends that way. So it was, it was hard to get out of those moments, to be honest with you. And it's something that I'm still working on. I think I found it's really important to be honest about these things and the experiences, because however we're feeling, we're not alone. There'll be other people that have been through those experiences and still have that frustration. It's well, how do we work past that?
Yeah.
And it's important too, because at the end of the day, it's, it's your life and you want to live it your way. You don't want to have to hold on to this other things, which to be honest does make things difficult.
Oh, wow. How motivational. I mean, the kids that are going to hear from you tomorrow are so lucky. They're going to get all of this. This is amazing. One of the other things, we're talking about dark places or dealing with challenges. I was looking at your website and you mentioned about, because you've made history, you've broken records to be the first woman of colour to travel all the way, solo trip, down to the Antarctica, South Pole. But then you got trolled because it was described as the first woman of colour. I mean, obviously for people like me, that's amazing. And I get shocked, hearing just the fact that you got trolled for it. That, to me sounds absurd and ridiculous. It's a proud moment and it's a great achievement. Yeah. And obviously it's historic. What was your reaction when you got all of that? I mean, I've seen stuff on your website, but I'd like to hear it from you. Yes.
I think what's sad is I was expecting it a little bit. And I saw it obviously on mainstream, kind of loads of comments and things. And it took me, I kind of I didn't respond to each person, and I did read a lot of the comments there, even though they say you shouldn't. and then I responded in my own way. And what I say to people as well is, so a lot of the comments were, we are all equal, great achievement, but ruined by the fact that you mentioned her colour of skin, things like that. Now, to me, equality is not about ignoring our differences, because they called me British, they called me an army officer. They are differences. So, why is it okay to talk about those differences but not the colour of my skin?
Absolutely.
And to me, equality is about embracing those differences. And you know what, I haven't always been proud of the colour of my skin, and I definitely am now, and it's a huge part of who I am. So I think, and I say to people, embrace whatever it is about you, because everybody is different. Being different to each other doesn't mean that we can't treat each other with respect and treat each other equally. That doesn't mean we're all the same. So it was interesting to see. And I think for me, it's just about, gathering how I feel about it before, I say responding if I want to respond. But it was so endearing and heartwarming to see all the people who, were proud, or just, I felt like that. And, I've been in that space.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to talk about it, because like I said, if you're feeling a certain way, then there'll be other people out there too. I had a young girl at one of the schools say to me that she's not proud of the colour of her skin, and how did I get to where I am? And, it's really hard. I know it's hard to hear that, and it is. And, I spoke to her about, why that was and what it was, in her culture that she liked. And she said it was the food. And I was like, well, think about these things that you enjoy in the culture, and, about embracing your differences, because they are part of who you are, which is such a rich and amazing and powerful culture. And, it turns out it then was about other comments that people have said. And when we talk about these boundaries and barriers, often, it can be those closest to us that potentially put those there. Some people will say, they feel like they've put them there ourselves, but all those comments, they don't help. The amount of times people said, Preet, you don't look like a polar explorer. And it wasn't said maliciously, it honestly wasn't, but I heard it quite a few times. And then you think back to those barriers and boundaries. If somebody says something enough times, do you start to believe it? And what does a polar explorer look like? Obviously I don't have a beard, but what does any profession look like? What does that engineer or a pilot or a teacher look like? So I think, I feel, God, the most confident I've ever felt, or just finding my voice really. And I feel really grateful to be here. And I think I've gotten here from being that rebel, from pushing those boundaries, which is why I want to encourage other people to as well, because imagine, you start doing that when you're younger, and whatever, like I said, whatever that is for them, imagine finding that voice and thinking, well, actually, I can go and do anything. I think that's a really powerful thing.
Absolutely. And, we're really proud that you've done what you've done, because firstly, we've got an opportunity to talk to you and tell a story. But also after our interview here, we're going to go and meet a group of ladies who are bringing their daughters. And I had a call from one of the girls when I sent the invite to them to say, look, would you like to come to this event? And she said, oh my God, I cannot believe that you're inviting me. And my little girl is going to be so happy. Because when she first heard about you, her little girl was so happy to see somebody that's like her doing something so different, so revolutionary. Like you said, what does a polar explorer look like? And that's why what you're doing, the kind of representation that you're giving hope to those children who don't see people like them in the kind of professions that you've just created, or the kind of excursions that you've just done. So that's giving hope, and that's giving somebody also aspirations to do something that's not the usual run-of-the-mill careers, and to, really explore and do something that they might enjoy than the usual stuff. So it's incredible. And do you realise now the power of that?
I don't know, it's hard to think, isn't it? Like, wherever I am, I feel like is the new normal for me. And I know, I went to the South Pole. I think I've been back and I've spoken to, I think, about 16,000 children so far, or young people. So it's been busy since I've been back. And for me, it's it's the small comments here and there that I get, or it's on Comic Relief, my niece dressed up as a polar explorer.
How cute.
Another young girl, someone tagged me on their social media, dressed up as me.
That is amazing.
And it's just forget that it's a polar explorer, they've dressed up as something that you wouldn't even think. Do you know what I mean? And that in itself is so powerful to me. So
a role model.
It's just, I think back in the day, I just remember thinking, if I could inspire one person, and now I feel like it's more than that. I'm like, I feel like I have a platform, and this was yes, going into Antarctica was great, but it's given me that platform, right? What else can we do? You know, what can I do to, whether it's make the outdoors more inclusive or get people on board and pushing their boundaries? How do we get communities involved? Because it's not always the young people who don't want to, but if, you know, you say the outdoors is for everyone, how hard is it to go and do something? Not only that you don't know anything about, but when you don't see people that look like you doing it, it's not easy.
No, absolutely.
It's not easy. And, you know, that is a barrier within itself. So how can we, you know, make that easier for people? So I'm really, you know, I'm excited to be involved in like lots of different projects and just, yeah, do as much as I can really. Like I'm a pretty passionate person. And when I get like an idea, my partner's like, oh no, well I have another idea because it's like, what is it, you know, what is it this time? But it's, I'm really excited about it. And, you know, I feel like this is just the beginning for me.
I know. I mean, we were talking off camera and I already know this is just the beginning because you've already set your sail, so to speak, on another expedition. You're going to be doing another journey. Are you allowed to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I am. So when I decided I wanted to go to Antarctica, I decided I wanted to do a crossing. So I wouldn't stop at the South Pole. I would keep going and I would do it solo and unsupported. So carrying all of my kit across. So I'd be the first woman to ever do that solo and unsupported, which, is my kind of next plan. So I'm just trying to get funding together. So anyone want to sponsor me?
So yes, guys, we need to make sure that this kind of stuff continues. So sponsorships. Definitely.
And, and then I can get, you know, the time off work and then, touch wood if I can, go ahead and do that one. But I'm, you know, it's a bigger expedition. I did phase 1 to kind of allow me, which is what I just did, to allow me to go and do phase 2, which is what I'm planning to do. And then after that, I don't think it will be bigger. I think it will just be broader in terms of what I'm trying to do. So, you know, because for me, I think if I think about big aims, it's making the outdoors inclusive for everybody, getting people out who never thought they would, because, you know, you step into spaces like that and I can't even tell you how good it's been for my mental health. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes I see a lot of people who seem quite lost around 14, 15, 16. I'm like, you know, what can we give these young people to help them? Yeah. And I found personally stepping outside of my comfort zone, doing little things, you're like, oh, wow, I never thought I could do that, you know, whatever that is. And I just want to be in a position where I can help people achieve, you know, different things.
I think you definitely can. I mean, when you said all of those things, I just realised that we were forced into isolation because of COVID. Yeah. You weren't forced, you went into isolation when you were travelling. So if anything, you could definitely help a lot of people because obviously you chose that journey. Yeah. You succeeded in that journey as well. And you've come back and like you said, it's shaped you, you know, it's taught you a lot, and now you're inspiring and motivating a lot of us as well. I'm still not sure I'd still put myself through minus 50 degrees.
Just wait till the end of the evening, that's it. You'll be like, yeah, I'm coming, Preet.
Serious. And I'm sure the minus 50 degrees is still not a goer for me because minus 5 and that's it, I'm gone. But you never know. So far, I am really, really intrigued. I think, especially in terms of how you survived with all the food and I think it is life-changing because obviously what you've done, you've actually got an opportunity to explore yourself.
100%. And this was a crazy idea. That's what it was, you know. Polar Preet was created on my sofa. It was just, you know, it's hard to put all of your money into something and then they still be paying it off. It's not easy.
Not a basic thing to do. We never put money in where there's no return.
Well, exactly. You know, it's a risk. It's a huge, you know, it is a risk. But the amount of planning and preparation that I put into this is just, you know, was a lot. So like all of that food, nutrition, the training that went into it kind of, there's a lot of planning for all the food, for everything. I tried every single bit of food before I went to make sure that I liked it and, you know, put weight on before I left as well. I lost 10 kilograms by the end. Oh my goodness. And not just, you know, fat, but muscle as well. So I was like, why didn't I choose to do something where like I feel really lean at the end, you know, like I've been carrying weight and I was like, but no, I was like drawn. I think, you know, I think we see the end result a lot, don't we? Through social media and different things, we see the end result. And I think it's really easy for young people to see that. And I want to be honest that it's achievable, 100% achievable, but it was hard to get there. You know, like, and you do need to put hard work in to get like the results you want to get. Well, exactly. But that reward that you get from having put that work in and seeing achievement, that's immense.
Fantastic. Absolutely charming. Look at you. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us.
No problem at all.
Absolutely incredible hearing your journey.
Thank you.
And I hope that, people do sponsor your next one. If they want to get involved, what
Yeah, so everything's Polar Preet. So polarpreet.com, Polar Preet on Facebook, Polar Preet social media. So yeah, contact at Polar Preet. Just email there and that'll be great.
Fantastic. So guys, get liking, get sharing, get looking at the website, because this lady's not planning to stop anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Let's Talk with Asian Sunday. Until next time.